channels 8, and for high definition, channel 250. You can also watch us via facebook.com/OneNewsPH, and on YouTube, just enter OneNewsPH. You can also download the Cignal Play app, and as always, thank you very much to PLDT for giving us the fantastic home internet, fiber internet service out here in Lipa City. Today is July 5, 2021. We start another work week, another work from home week for me and many of you out there. It's a Monday, and do join us because we are going to have a very interesting, well-rounded, and popular person to interview today, none other than the Senate President, Senator Vicente Tito Sotto, or Tito Sen to many. But before that, let's go first to the front page of the Philippine Star. And there you go, 45 dead, 53 hurt in the AFP plane crash in Patikul, Holo. Vaccination cards in lieu of testing okayed for travel, and COVID-19 cases goes up to 5,966. And on the lower half of the paper, we have Coast Guard disperses 5 Chinese ships from West Philippine Sea. Taal emits high sulfur dioxide gas. Senators back probe of Ayuda corruption. Pacquiao flight diverted, returns to NAIA. Emong brings strong winds to northern Luzon. PNP buyers of COVID vaccines to face wraps. Now let's go to the major stories on today's front page. At least 45 people were killed and 53 others injured when the crash of a C-130 Hercules military plane yesterday. The unfortunate incident happened when the C-130 missed the runway upon landing in Patikul, Sulu. The military said that 3 civilians died and 4 others were injured at the crash site. As of now, search and rescue continues as there are still 5 uniformed personnel unaccounted for. The unrest of Taal Volcano continues as it spewed high levels of volcanic sulfur dioxide in the past 24 hours, says the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS. Later on the show, we will speak with NDRRMC Spokesperson Mark Timbal to get the latest on the evacuation of residents in the area. Meanwhile, the government has eased travel and quarantine protocols for fully vaccinated individuals as it approved the use of vaccination cards as exemption for testing. A person is considered fully vaccinated 2 weeks after receiving the final dose of his COVID-19 vaccine. So liliwanagin ko lang po yan, mga kaibigan. Please check. Kasi alam nyo po, kada announcement ng IATF, DOH, lagi na lang may sabit. And an example would be the face shield. Okay nang hindi magsuot ng face shield, biglang hindi na naman okay magsuot ng face shield. Pagkatapos yung overseas Filipino, pwede nang magpa-certify sa mga polo offices, hindi na naman pwede, OFW lang pala. And now, they're saying, basta may COVID card ka, okay ka na to travel, hindi mo na kailangan magpa-test, basta fully vaccinated ka, except daw for senior citizens. Eh, ang problema, ano bang kaibahan ng fully vaccinated senior citizen from a non-senior citizen who is also fully vaccinated? The issue here is vaccination, not age. Anyway, just be careful. A word of caution. Anyway, Today's quote is fitting for the start of the week and for those of the many people who are planning to run for public office or for higher office. It comes from Psalm 127 verse 1. Unless the Lord builds a house, the laborer work in vain. Okay? And unless God watches or protects a city, the watchman watches in vain. Kumbaga, kung hindi ginusto ng Panginoon, if it is not God's will, it's not going to happen. You're just going to waste your time. And of course, wala po tayong pinapatamaan. Pinapaalalahanan lang natin kasi maraming mga nag-announce na, ang tanong, nag-check ba kayo kay Lord? Anyway, let's go to our first guest, and this brings back a lot of memories. Let's bring in Senate President Tito Sotto. Sir, good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning, Cito. It's been a while. Thank you for the invitation.
Hey, thank you, sir. Tito Sen, when Team Agenda told me that you had confirmed, for some strange reason, I remember that 27 years ago, you sent us, my family, a letter of condolence and also parang bumubusina ka na ikaw yung papalit sa tatay ko sa Brigada 7. And I remember we went to the studio and prayed over you, prayed for you kasi ikaw lang yung kumbaga nagbigay galang at nagpaalam. And I just want to recall that and honor you for doing that. Yung ba yun ng GRMC, GMRC, Good Manners and Right Conduct?
Thank you, Cito. Yes, I do remember that. And I felt kasi that I was, first of all, Louis was really someone I respected. Not because we were somehow related, but really I respected him. And then I felt that I might not be able to fit in the shoes. And I wanted the family to be informed that Channel 7 then was offering me the post after he passed away. So thank you for remembering.
Yeah. Anyway, moving forward, Tito Sen, Senator Soto, medyo, syempre pag nire-refresh natin, very few people ang nakakaalam na letranista ka pala, that you graduated English. You actually took a course on the Harvard School of Leadership, of Government, and not least of them all is that you're a composer at ikaw pala yung nag-compose ng kantang Magkaisa nung People's Revolution ba yun?
The People Power time in 1986. Yes, I did. Thank you. Yes, I'm a red and blue-blooded Veteranite from grade 2. From grade 2 to college, I took up AB, major in English, minor in psychology. Nung araw, may mga minor pa eh.
Okay.
Yung grade 1 ko was in Ateneo.
Okay.
Until it was transferred to Loyola Heights. It used to be in Padre Faura eh.
Okay.
Near our house. So when they transferred to Loyola Heights, the closest one to my house then, my father thought was Letran.
Okay. Now, another thing that many people seem to have forgotten, alam kong kasapi ka ng Samahang Hampas Lupa, yung mga golfers. At nababalitaan ko pamisa-misa nandito ka sa parte namin sa Lipa, sa Manarayat.
Every Sunday ako sa Lipa. Yeah, almost every Sunday.
But what we have forgotten is that you are a superb bowler. what happened? Bakit tinigil mo yung bowling? Kasi noon, alam ko, a few steps ka na lang or baka ilang taon lang ang lamang sa'yo ni Paeng Nepomuceno sa bowling. Eh, bakit bigla ka nag-golf?
We were partners eh. I started earlier than Paing eh. I started playing 10-pin bowling in 1973. 73. And then I became a national team member by 1974. And then Paeng came in around 1975 before he won his first World Cup. We were partners. Pagka doubles ang laban, we played doubles in the World FIQ and some South Asian games. We were teammates. Kaya lang, later on in 1986, after the People Power Revolution, that was my last tournament. Paeng and I, and together with Bongku and Ariel Cedena and Rene Reyes, the five-man team, we won the President's Cup in Indonesia. After that, I don't know. I lost the hunger. I made 3 perfect games, and then my gang, which included Vic and Tony Tobiera and Joey, they were all into golf. So I tried it. When I tried it, it became very, very interesting, very challenging at that, actually. So yun, medyo nalulung na ako.
Balita ka, no offense men, Tito Sen, pero very creative golfer ka raw eh. Malingat lang yung kalaban mo, talo na sila.
No, it's a gentleman's game. You should not do that.
Okay, I'm just warming you up, Tito Sen, kasi the reason I started on sports, I know you are a sportsman, your heart is very close to sport, but there is something happening in the country that no one seems to realize and no one seems to pay attention to. Kung napansin mo, yung mga Rabena naglalaro na o nag-enlist na sa Japan, may isa na namang player na, I just forgot his name, mag-enlist na naman sa Japan. And may mga kilala akong mga coaches na nagtayo ng mga magagandang training schools, grassroots schools dito sa Pilipinas. Eh nabalitaan ko this week, nag-a-apply na ng trabaho abroad. And I'm reminded of a situation during the transition from the Marcos to the Cory administration where we lost so many technical experts, particularly in agriculture, kasi nagkaroon ng sequestration ng mga farms, ng mga plants, nag-alisan lahat yung mga technical experts. I'm just worried, Mr. Senator, that now, you being a sportsman, no one is paying. Maski na si Manny Pacquiao, mukhang ang focus ay sa boxing niya at saka sa presidential bid and yung corruption. No one has noticed na baka isang araw magising tayo, wala na tayong mga athletes.
Well, it's a good thing we're gaining in some other sports, no, like golf and tennis. Gumaganda sitwasyon natin. But you're right. The day might come na medyo baka na-export na yung mga magagaling natin.
Pati si Wesley So, nawala na rin, nag-Amerikano na.
That was a real blunder. He was here with us. He was actually seeking tawag dito yung wanted to be a full-blown Filipino citizen because during that time he had a difficulty with his citizenship. And the officials then, the sports officials then, did not really give him the much attention needed. We were ready in the Senate to give him a citizenship. Yes, I am. Now he's a grandmaster par excellence, and he is not a Filipino.
Can we count on you, or I mean, I'm sure we can count on you, but is it? Can we quickly act on this? Yung mga NSAs, mga government sports bodies, kasi parang wala man lang nakikipagharap sa sa IATF na ano ba, can we do something to start up? Because I don't know if you're a soccer football fan, but they're already doing the Euro Champion Leagues. And tayo dito ay wala, nag-aalisa na kasi hindi makalaro dito yung mga tao.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for bringing it up. I will take it upon myself. I will take it upon myself to discuss it with the Philippine Sports Commission, and perhaps look into also the problems that beset the PBA. I have been talking to a number of players, PBA players, and they have been telling me about many complaints about the way it's run, the way it's they are treated. Ganun eh. That's why madali po, pagka nagkaroon ng pagkakataon abroad, they will take it. So perhaps we can look into it. I can assure you that I will do that. Besides in a month or two, the budget of the PSC will be passing through us. So we can fully discuss it with them and look at the possibility of, again, because even with the pandemic, we can look into the grassroots level pa rin. Doon ang gagaling yung iba natin eh.
Yeah. Now, moving forward, Senator, yung isa pang love mo, ever since, I think it was in the 12th Congress ba yun, nung nagsenador ka, you were pushing strongly for drug-free Philippines. And that has been your commitment for what, 2-3 decades already. Eh, ang problema in a recent report or statement, the PNP said that the drug problem remains the same as it was in the beginning of the Duterte administration. I mean, 10, depende on who's counting, 6 to 10,000 Filipinos have died in the drug war. Now, and it's still the same. What's your reaction to this, Senator?
I started with this in 1988 when I was vice mayor, and I established and upgraded the Quezon City Anti-Drug Abuse Council, which was later on declared a model council. We had a formula, and the formula I brought into the Senate in 1992. That was the 9th Congress, actually. In the 9th Congress, I filed already the amendments to the dangerous drugs laws, which was then the Dangerous Drugs Act of 1972. Hindi ka pa pinapanganak.
Ano lang, isa't kalating dekada lang lamang mo sa akin, kuya.
Anyway, so we were able to pass it in 2002. We were able to upgrade it. But the problem right now, and the PNP is correct, because I even wrote a book, A Vision for a Drug-Free Philippines. But right now, I'm rewriting it because I'm looking at a vision for a drug-resistant Philippines. Getting it drug-free is almost impossible. The 3 to 6 months promise before, that was not possible, really. But then let's look at what the situation right now. The present dispensation have been concentrating on enforcement. But to hit the problem of illegal drugs and drug abuse, and by the way, those are two different animals. Illegal drugs is related but different from drug abuse. Being able to hit it head on, there must be a holistic approach. Therefore, you cannot confine it to enforcement. There must be enforcement, prosecution, prevention, and rehabilitation. As a matter of fact, mayroon pang alternative development program na bagong pinag-aaralan ngayon. But then, enforcement is what they have been doing in the last 5 years.
Okay.
Whether itong nakachinelas ang napapatay or kung sino man high level, still, it's all enforcement.
Okay, Senator, can you hold that thought? Let's just go for a very quick commercial break. And when we return, tuloy-tuloy natin, you have a lot of time with us. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and our guest for today, Senate President Vicente Tito Sotto III. Tito Sen, welcome back. And you were saying the book is about drug-free, but you are rewriting it to drug-resistant. What, in short, is your concept?
All right. Again, when I mentioned the four major concerns, the enforcement and prosecution are part of the supply reduction strategy. That has been the attempt of the present dispensation. Now, the supply, that is the supply reduction, but the demand reduction strategy must be on prevention and rehabilitation. The prosecution, there is much to be desired. But right now, enforcement, all right, we have got into a headway perhaps, but it's still there. Ang PNP mismo nag-a-admit na nandiyan pa. Bakit? Because the prosecution, there is much to be desired. In the previous administration, about 85% of drug cases were dismissed. Presently, it's getting a little better, but there is much to be desired as far as prosecution is concerned. No? And then, going to the demand reduction strategy, I don't see a real demand reduction strategy program of the government, which is much more important as far as I am concerned when it comes to enforcement and prosecution. Prevention must be from grade 5, grade 6, grade 7. There must be a drug abuse resistance education program nationwide. There was an attempt by DepEd, but I don't see it blooming at all. Because when you prevent the new 13 years olds from taking up drugs later on when they get to high school, you will be more successful than enforcement, because they would already know. By that time, they know that it's bad for them, it will be bad for their family, it's bad for their future. You prevent the new 13 years old from indulging into drugs. That is why the very nationwide prevention program should be done. Next is, more importantly also, is the rehabilitation. Rehabilitation program. There was an attempt at the start of the administration. They even put up big rehabilitation centers, saan, But the problem is they're not really doing the rehabilitation program properly. It should be right now it is under the Department of Health. But the Dangerous Drugs Board should really try to push more. And then, kasi ang rehabilitation, Cito, it is not as easy as taking someone who is a drug dependent and bringing him to a rehabilitation center. The rehabilitation center must be able to profile the patient or the drug dependent, because there are many ways of rehab. Akala nila pag pinasok sa rehab center, no. You must profile, because there are 4 or 5 ways of rehabilitation of a program. The faith-based program, we have a therapeutic community program, a multidisciplinary program, a 12 steps Minnesota model, or a eclectic if necessary. So, you must profile first the drug dependent, kung saan programa babagay siya. Ano nangyayari sa atin ngayon? Papasok sa rehab center, after 6 months, okay na daw. Paglabas, after 2 months, balik ulit, adik ulit. Because the program is not correct.
And you're right there, because the reality in the Philippines is, and bato-bato sa langit, tamaan, wag magagalit, drugs is now a livelihood. Literally a livelihood of the poor people. Ang dami ko nang nakitang nahuli. Yan lang po ang pinagkukunan namin, ang kakainin namin. Yan po ang alam lang namin kabuhayan. And then, there is also the bad side of drug interdiction, na kung saan yung mga nanghuhuli, sila rin yung nagbebenta or nagre-recycle nitong mga drugs na ito. So, at this point, do you feel parang you're fighting a losing battle, or do you have a plan to present? Because I know that you are gunning for higher office. Uh, what are your plans to address this problem?
If I were the one fighting this battle, I think we can be successful. That is why I'm saying that we must go for a drug-resistant Philippines. You know,
Mhm.
a drug-free Philippines is not possible. Why? For example, you collect all the drugs in the Philippines, cocaine, marijuana, shampoo, designer drugs, lahat yan. Pag sama-samahin mo, makuha mo lahat, sunugin mo lahat. Lahat ng pusher, patayin mo. If you have a drug dependent, they will look for something else to abuse. There are many substances of abuse. May contact cement, may cap zero, may novain. So there must be a strategy stronger than enforcement and prosecution, which is prevention and rehabilitation. Pag doon sa sinasabi mo nga na yung mga iba, yung mga especially the lower echelon in life, they're saying that ito lang pinagkakakitaan na. That is why there must be an alternative development program also for this.
Okay.
And this is something that our government must be doing, and hopefully um, they learn from this.
Okay.
Or, as I said, if I were the one running it, we will not be in this situation. We will try to be drug resistant.
Okay, assuming that we follow the way things are going, right now everyone is talking about the 2022 election, about COVID, etc. If I were to open your head, ika nga, or look into your mind spiritually, what is top of mind for you? Is it the election? Is it the last session of the Senate? By the way, Tito Sen, are you re-electionist? Are you end term? Paano ba?
I'm ending my fourth term. Therefore, I will not be able to run for re-election in 2022. In other
Mm.
words, I've been in the Senate for 24 years.
Mhm.
They call me Jurassic Senator because I'm the only one who has been there since 1992. All the rest came after 1995. And so I'm the only one still in the Senate from 1992 Ninth Congress.
Mm.
Now, right now, top of mind, it's still the pandemic and the bad economy. And all these are related. Crime, peace and order, illegal drugs, it's all related.
Mm.
That is why it ends, particularly corruption. So right now, we are still in the process of trying to do our best in the Senate to be able to address these concerns. As a matter of fact, when I was going around, trying to go around um, with my party mates from the Nationalist People's Coalition,
Mm.
we really have difficulty calling for a meeting or a general meeting because unlike before, when Ambassador Danding and I would say, no, let's call for an NPC meeting, almost everyone will be present. But right now, we can't do that because of the pandemic. So we try to get in touch with our party mates batch by batch or through Zoom or what have you, and try to get the pulse. But most of my colleagues, more on my party mates, I should say, most of my party mates are very busy addressing the pandemic also in their constituencies.
Mm.
As you all know, the NPC has the second largest members of both Congress and the local government that are incumbent.
Mm.
We have 42 congressmen. We have many, I think, of 30 governors. We have in hundreds of mayors, vice mayors, vice governors. So we could not get together. Uh, so again, pandemic pa rin yung top of
Okay.
mind at this point.
Now, I remember a few months or last year ba yun, you had the Senate inquiry. on the DOH, and particularly targeted was Secretary Francisco Duque. What is your current, kasi magsosona na naman State of the Nation address. What is your evaluation or sentiment about Secretary Duque? Has your feelings or opinion of him changed? Or do you remain doubtful of his competence?
Um, well, I do not want to be having a judgmental, but we're just basing it on what we feel should be done more by the DO and addressed more. Like, all right, there is quite very good signs of supply for vaccines to come in. They're doing that, but it's the IATF that does that. As far as the DOH is concerned, I'm having a problem with them on the issue of the face shields. So I could hindi ko parang masabi na okay, maganda ang competence or what. Very difficult to judge incompetence actually.
Yeah.
So right now, I am surprised at how he and his consultants are insisting on the use of face shields. Maliwanag that even abroad, we're the only country that mandates the use.
Yeah, Senator Manny Pacquiao has pointed to the DOH as the first case as far as his claims of corruptions are concerned. And then sinabi niya na may mga iba pa, DPWH ba yun, or some other agency or department. You reacted kasi nung parang nagkaroon ng all-of-government attack against Senator Pacquiao, you reacted and said, bakit wala ba? And it has been known that the Senate has been, under your leadership, remained independent, equal, and fair. Kumbaga, tumatabla kayo. Wala kayong color. Tumatabla yung Senate. But it has been clear that the Senate continues to investigate corruption, whether it was Senator Ping Lacson, whether it's an issue that you raised, or Manny Pacquiao, or some other senator. Continues yung mga corruption issues. Why does it seem news now? O parang bago ba itong corruption na ito?
Only because it was Manny Pacquiao who started saying it. But really, as I said, tinatanong ko bakit? Ba't sila nagagalit kay Manny pag binabanggit na mayroong corruption? Sabi ko bakit? Wala ba? Baka wala sa tingin nila. But then remember, 1 or 2 years ago, just a year ago, the president was saying that he said he's having difficulty with the corruption issue. And it is really the main problem of our country. Ang tinatanong nga is, ano ba ang problema natin? Ang corruption nasa gobyerno. What is really the problem of the country? Corruption in government. It's bad government. So what's the solution? Good government.
Well,
Stop the corruption. Pero how do you do that? It's so difficult. Like, for example, the DOH that Senator Pacquiao was talking about, ngayon pa lang yan. Ngayon lang niya nabanggit yan. Pero noong pa nangyayari yun, di ba? Even the so-called, and we're waiting for the evidence to prove that DOH is buying almost expired drugs and get rid of it later on. Di mga ganon. And is it true? We'll find out. We'll find out very soon. Walang natatagong baho Walang natatagong kasalanan So we'll find out. And then, remember many years ago, I was handling the budget of the DOH. They were buying yung anti-pneumonia shots for, I think, ang computation, tawag 1,500 per shot. Tapos sabi sa akin ni Manong Johnny, 750 lang daw ang bayad niya sa Makati Medical. Yung mga gano'n. Hindi ba? It has been there. So there is really a problem as far as the Secretary Duque is concerned. It's all around him. Ano, siya mismo dapat ang nag-iimbestiga dyan sa paligid niya.
Okay. You mentioned the word good government. Diretsahan na, Senator Soto, no? Pasensya ka na kasi a lot of people are really looking for a choice. Kumbaga sino ba ang pwedeng mapili? Sino ba ang pwede nating asahan for 2022? Now, you by your own terms or in your own words, sabi mo ikaw nga yung Jurassic senator. There is nothing bad in being a Jurassic senator if you are a senator na naaral mo na lahat, nakita mo na yung galaw ng gobyerno, and apparently you're not too ambitious kasi most people thought you would gun for the presidency. Pero klaseng ang bitaw mo, Vice President, okay na. Am I correct in that assessment that you are being cautious, you're being strategic, and you want to do it step by step? You're gunning for Vice President. Is that a fact or is that my fiction?
Yes, it is a fact. I'm seriously considering running for the second post, the vice president. Why not the first? Why not the presidency, di ba? I think what I'm capable of and what I can do can be done in the office of the vice president more. What I said, if I am given the chance and I will be the one to address the problem of drug abuse and illegal drugs under the office of the president, you remove that headache from the office of the president. Let the president worry about economy, the other issues on peace and order, the 30 trillion debt of government, the West Philippine Sea, the COVID-19 response, corruption, the 30% hunger, the pension, the low tax revenue, the higher pension, the pension next year of the armed forces will be higher for military personnel will be higher than the budget of the armed forces of the Philippines. It's a headache, and I think my position is that I will be able to help the next government by gunning for the position that I will be very effective in. And as has always been a team player, and the expertise that I have, I think I will be more effective with that instead of seeking the presidency. And again, caution is the better word.
Okay. Caution is a better, well, I forgot the phrase. May salitang ganon eh. Maayos na yun, mabuti na yun nag-iingat kesa sa padalos-dalos.
Yeah. Saka meron nga, sabi mo nga, you've always mentioned the passages in the Bible. I've come across something like, God does not choose the qualified. God qualifies the chosen.
Okay, well, very, very good thing to mention. Now, here's the thing. It seems if you look at the playground, if you allow me to use that term, it seems to be a choice between mayors versus veteran senators. Veteran senators are the traditional choices. The new generation are the mayors. Sa palagay mo ba tama na tumakbo itong mga batang mayor na ito, biglaan na lang, naka 1-2 terms sila, biglang tatakbo na sila sa pagka-presidente o vice-presidente. They immediately gun for higher office or they're being pushed for higher office. Would they have, without names, without judgment, would they have takes necessary experience? Because you've been a councilor, correct?
Vice Mayor.
A vice mayor, you've been a long-term senator, etc. sapat na ba yung nag-mayor ka for 1 or 2 terms para maging presidente ka?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, God qualifies the chosen. If you are the chosen one, di ba? Who are you to say? But I've heard this.
Yeah.
It's not from me. Huwag magagalit sa akin yung mga tatamaan. Bato-bato sa langit, tamaan, wag magagalit. Nung pinag-uusapan namin to, nung mga kaalyado ko, one of them, and I will not mention who, said, "Huh? Mayor na naman?" Sabi ko, bakit? Puro mayor yan. Si Erap, si Digong, sabi niya. Ano ba yung mga binanggit niya? Ito, mayor na naman. I don't know. I'd rather not kaya nga i-comment again. Baka mamaya, yung mga makatunggalin natin later on if we so decide. So, mahirap naman. I'd rather not be judgmental.
Okay. Well, now, you shouldn't be judgmental, but you have to be very honest. Who is your preferred president? Who is, yung sa kumbaga ikaw lang ang masusunod, ideal president to you in the current choices? Kasi nababanggit si Manny Pacquiao, nababanggit si Senator Ping Lacson, and then there are other candidates. But as far as Tito Sotto is concerned, who would be a better president, not just because he's a better man, but because you can really work with that person?
I have actually 3 choices. If I were asked. Ping Lacson, Ramon Ang, Enrique Rason. They would make good presidents, I assure you.
Okay, pasensya ka na, natawa ko kasi medyo parang bigla akong kakanta ng The Impossible Dream eh.
Oo nga, kausap ko yung dalawa, parehong ayaw eh. But Ping is seriously considering it. He has the track record. He has an excellent track record as an executive. And he knows the problems. We're just in the process of trying to binabalangkas namin kung ano mga programang pwedeng gamitin para ma-address itong mga problemang to na binanggit ko. Next year, we will be having a 13 trillion debt.
Okay.
And, yes, go ahead.
Now, Ping Lacson, okay, veteran, senator, public servant, PNP officer, but would you agree that it will be a long, hard climb for him, especially in our society na still haunted by martial law, by men in uniform, etc.?
He comes from a different uniform. The last one that came from his ranks did good. Remember Fidel Ramos? There were no issues of corruption like what we're having now. And then remember when he was PNP chief, takot ang pulis, takot magloko. You will recall, so for me, he's the ideal president. Medyo sabi nga nila, baka uphill climb. But what do we have here? We have an offer, an alternative to the people. Ito ang programa namin. Ito ang ibibigay namin, magagawa namin programa. That's what we're thinking of if we do so decide. Ito. And then it's up to the people to decide. Kung ayaw nila, wala tayong magagawa. Kung ibang programa ang gusto nila. But that's the situation. That's how we look at it right now.
Has the president made any remarks or napagkakwentuhan na ba ninyo ito ni President Duterte na baka tumakbo na kayong dalawa ni Ping for president and vice president?
Hindi namin napag-usapan yan eh. There was one time na napag-usapan namin yan and it was about him and I nung sabi ko there was a media personality asking me kung di ba ako natatakot kung si President Duterte raw yung makakatunggali ko kung tatakbo siyang Vice President at tatakbo kong Vice President. At ang sagot ko, whoever is running with me or competing for the same position does not beget my resolve. Sabi ko, kahit sino, basta't yung akin, I am offering something. Ibig sabihin, hindi ka takot, sabi sa akin. Hindi naman gano'n, sabi ko. And then, pero the following day, the slant was that I was not, I was unfazed by Digong. Parang ganyan yan. So when the President and I were talking, sabi ko sa kanya, narinig ito ni Bongo. Sabi ko, Mr. President, I respect you. Pero sabi ko, iba naman yung sinasabi ng slant ka ako ng media na hindi ako takot sa'yo. At sabi ni Presidente sa akin, hindi ka naman talaga takot sa akin, di ba? hindi sa ganun. Sabi ko, respeto kita, sabi ko.
So there is respect. There is a healthy respect. Kumbaga, sige, tumakbo ka. Now, my last and final question, Senator Sotto, marami na bang nagpahiwatig, nagparamdam? Have you received feelers of support from the business group? Because at the end of the day, you can be the best man on the court, but unless the big business or business backers come up, medyo hindi yata papayag si Tita Helen na isara niya yung kitchen niya para lang maging vice president ka.
Hindi nga talaga. As a matter of fact, she's not into it right now. She's still also thinking of whether she will support my decision later on. Yes.
Nandiyan ba siya? Kasi mukhang I'm interviewing the wrong person eh. I think I should be asking her if you are allowed to run for vice president.
You're right, we're all members of the macho group. It's not macho M-A-C-H-O, it's macho rin.
Macho rin. Okay.
Akala nyo ba si Senator Honasan o si Senator Lacson, mga macho yan? Puro under Bisaya yan. Akala nyo lang.
Sama-sama na. In the words of Pinoy, sama-sama na tayong lahat.
Tama, ikaw din.
Okay, well, Senator...
Yes, we, as a matter of fact, it's one of the reasons that we're looking into it. Because we've been hearing feelers and also some consumers groups, commuter groups. They're talking to us. I've had meetings with some of them, and that's what they're looking at. Sinasabi nila it would be a good combination. Although we have discussed things with Senator Pacquiao. That's true. What Senator Lacson mentioned some time back. Na kausap din namin si Manny because Manny talked to me, talked to Senator Lacson. In fact, I think
paano,
Senator Grateful.
Magagalit na yung EP ko, but I have to ask this question eh. Paano if Manny says he's willing to slide down to Vice President? Are you willing to slide down to a cabinet position if they win?
Kasi when I decide, pagtakbo ko, ako i-offer ko yung sarili ko as alternative for the people. Hindi ganun yung takbo ng mentality ko eh. Na kasi may slide down yung isa, mas magbibigay ako. Hindi ganun eh. I don't think I'll do that. If I decide to run, I will run. That's how it is. Hindi siguro gagawin yon.
Okay, yan ang salita ng tunay na lalaki, may paninindigan, may prinsipyo, at magaling pumalo ng bola. Thank you very much, Senate President Tito Sotto.
Yeah, thank you, Cito. We should do this more often.
Okay, anytime, sir. Okay, that's Senate President Tito Sotto, and we will be looking Welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and you are watching us via Cignal TV, channels 8 and 250, and also on facebook.com/OneNewsPH. You can watch our replays on YouTube, One News PH, and on Cignal Play app. Maraming salamat muli sa PLDT, lalo na kay Mr. Marco Borlongan, laging umaalalay, tumutulong at nagbibigay ng magandang serbisyo ang PLDT Fiber Optic Home Internet. Where I'm sitting, I can actually see towards the direction of Taal, and it's either a very low clouds day or Taal is still emitting some fumes. I don't know. Let's go to our next guest, Mr. Mark Timbal, spokesperson of the NDRRMC, or National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Center. Mark, welcome back.
Council, sir. Good morning.
Pasensya ka na, anak.
Nakita na naman tayo, sir. Good morning po.
At least hindi pa naman disaster. Pero malaman lang namin, I would like to get an update, Mark, before we end the program today, because I am here in Lipa City. I am outside. I'm within the 10-kilometer radius. So I got an alert last night, regarding gas emissions from Taal. So medyo, sabi ko, medyo tingnan nga, sumilip nga sa bintana, ay madilim na. What is the situation, Mark?
So far, sir, medyo wala tayong eruption na nakita ngayon nito nakalipas na araw. But what was noted by our scientists is that there was a anomalously large amount of sulfur dioxide that was released by Taal Volcano. And this led to the reiteration of the warning that the volcano island should be totally emptied of people, as well as the high-risk barangays of Laurel and Agoncillo. So far, the volcano island is indeed empty, and the evacuation for Laurel and Agoncillo's high-risk barangays are ongoing. As of this morning, Sir Cito, we already have a count of the evacuees. We have a total of 1,563 families, or 5,583 individuals that had been evacuated as of last night. They're staying in 22 evacuation centers outside the danger zone, and they are now currently being assisted by the local government units. There's been question about the status of the health situation in the area. Yan po, pinagpapasalamat natin doon sa mga kasama natin sa media, dahil may mga evacuation center po talaga noong simula ay nahirapan na magmando when it comes to following the minimum health standards. But right now, because of the assistance of the DILG and the PNP, we are able to maintain compliance to minimum health standards. Nag-deliver po tayo ng 300 family tents sa ating mga evacuation centers to make sure kahit papaano na one family, one tent, one room, one family arrangement po, para may physical distancing pa rin. And we've also delivered more than 8,000 additional family food packs to augment the supplies of the local government unit. Kasama
so ang risk area right now is only Laurel and Agoncillo. Other than that, medyo okay na, or at least safe, no need for evacuation. Everything has been done by the NDRRMC and the local DILG para lang kumbaga anything, in the event of anything, all the requirements are on the ground.
That's correct, sir. The lead actually on the ground are the local government units. At itong ginagawa po nila, akma din po at naaayon doon sa contingency plan natin for Taal Volcano eruption emergencies. At so far, sir, when it comes to supplies and the management of our evacuees, okay pa rin tayo.
Okay, well, it's good to know that nowadays the NDRRMC and the national government, kumbaga pre-positioned na, proactive na. So thank you very much for that update, Mark, and it's good to be able to talk to you without a disaster on hand, and you're looking good, my friend, looking good.
Thank you, sir. Kayo din. At ingat po kayo dyan sa lipa.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mark. And that's Mark Timbal, spokesperson of the NDRRMC, National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council. And I'm Cito Beltran, thanking you for joining us here on Agenda. Keep it on Cignal TV, channels 8 and 250. And keep watching, and always get the best and the latest here on One News PH.